Have you ever watched the person you love become a stranger right before your eyes? I saw it in the pale blue glow of her phone screen at 2:17 a.m. She was asleep, but her thumb twitched over the glass, a phantom gesture from a dream I wasn't a part of. The screen was locked, but a banner notification hung there for a moment, a single line of text that burned itself into my memory. Don T, forget what you promised me. My heart didn't just break. It turned to ice. I stood there in the silent dark of our Chicago brownstone, the city lights painting stripes on the hardwood floor, and I knew nothing would ever be the same. The real question wasn't who M was, but how deep the lie went. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're from and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. For 10 years, Sarah was my world. We built a life together from nothing. I was a high school history teacher, and she was a rising star in corporate law. I supported her through late-night study sessions for the bar exam, celebrated every promotion, and never once doubted her ambition. I was the steady, reliable husband, the rock. But a rock can be worn down, and I was eroding into sand. It started subtly. The late nights at the office became more frequent. Her phone, once left casually on the kitchen counter, was now her constant companion, always screen down. When I'd ask about her day, the answers became vague, polished summaries that lacked any real detail. She'd look at me, but her eyes were distant, already somewhere else. The woman who used to collapse into my arms, telling me every little office drama, was now a polite, cold roommate. She was manipulative in her distance, making me feel needy for wanting the connection we once had. "You're being insecure, James," she'd say, her voice laced with a condescending pity that made my skin crawl. She and her secret partner, whoever he was, felt untouchable. Wrapped in a bubble of arrogance while I was left on the outside, questioning my own sanity, the breaking point came on our anniversary. I'd booked a table at Gibson's Bar and Steakhouse on Rush Street, our spot. An hour before we were supposed to leave, she called, "James, I'm so sorry, something's come up at work." A huge deposition. I can't get out of it. Her voice was the perfect blend of regret and professionalism. I'd heard it so many times it was practically a recording. I sat there in our living room, the gift I'd bought for her sitting on the table, and I just broke. Not with a shout, but with a quiet, terrifying calm. The humiliation was a physical weight pressing down on my chest. I knew she was lying. I didn't know how, but I knew. That night, I didn't sleep. I went online and hired a private investigator, a grizzled ex-cop whose website looked like it was from 1998. It was the best money I ever spent. The proof came in a manila envelope a week later. Photos, grainy, but unmistakable. Sarah laughing as she got into a black Mercedes with a man. Him, his hand on the small of her back. They were parked outside the Peninsula Hotel, a place we could never afford. The man was Mark, a senior partner at her firm. Smug, handsome, and everything I wasn't. There were receipts too, hotel bills, dinners at Alinea, a weekend trip to Miami. My mind replayed every lie, every excuse, and slotted the evidence into place. It was a perfect, disgusting mosaic of betrayal. I laid the photos out on my desk, my hands shaking, not with sadness anymore, but with a cold, clarifying rage. She hadn't just cheated. She had built an entirely separate, better life, funded by my quiet support and her open contempt for me. The trap began to form in my mind, piece by piece. It wouldn't be enough to just leave. No, she had to be dismantled. Her perfect, curated world had to be publicly and legally destroyed. I played the part of the oblivious, loving husband. I made her breakfast, asked about her day. Every word was a performance. Meanwhile, I was a ghost, gathering my army. I met with the best divorce attorney in Chicago, a woman known as the Shark. I showed her the evidence. Her eyes lit up. Under her guidance, I began to meticulously document everything. I opened a new bank account. I forwarded every incriminating email from Sarah's laptop, which she carelessly left open to a secret address. I found the prenuptial agreement we'd signed, the one she insisted on, and read the infidelity clause she probably thought I'd forgotten. It was airtight. Any proven adultery meant she forfeited her claim to my assets, including my inheritance from my grandfather, which she had always seen as our future. The social trap was next. Sarah was being considered for a junior partnership at her firm, a position she coveted more than anything. The firm's partners were notoriously conservative, valuing family and public image. I found out the date of the final partners' dinner, an exclusive event at the Chicago Yacht Club. That was my stage. The night of the dinner, I told Sarah I had a faculty meeting I couldn't miss. "Wear your blue dress," I said. "You look like a star in it." She kissed me on the cheek, a dry, meaningless gesture. "Don't wait up," she said, "already gone." An hour later, I walked into the Chicago Yacht Club. I wasn't dressed for a faculty meeting, was in my sharpest suit. I saw her across the room, holding a glass of champagne, laughing with Mark and the firm's managing partner. She looked radiant, untouchable. Her eyes met mine, and for a split second the mask slipped. Panic. Pure, undiluted panic. I gave her a small, cold smile and made my way to the managing partner, a man named Arthur. I introduced myself, James, Sarah's husband. "I'm so sorry to interrupt, but I have something for you." I handed him a sleek, professionally bound folder. Inside was everything: the photos, the hotel receipts, copies of their intimate emails, sworn affidavit from the private investigator. I had also included a copy of our prenup with the infidelity clause highlighted. Arthur's face went from cordial to stone as he flipped through the pages. The room didn't go silent, but a pocket of dead air formed around their little group. Sarah's face was white. Mark looked like he was going to be sick. I didn't say a word to her. I just looked at her, letting her see the end of her world in my eyes. Then I turned and walked out. The fallout was immediate and catastrophic. Sarah was fired the next day. The morality clause in her contract was her undoing. Mark was suspended indefinitely. The divorce was brutal and fast. The judge took one look at the evidence and enforced the prenup. She got nothing. Her designer clothes, her fancy car, her dreams of partnership, all gone. Was legally, financially, and socially ruined. The last time I saw her, she was moving her things out of the brownstone into a U-Haul, her face a wreck of tears and disbelief. She tried to speak, to rage, to explain. I just closed the door. The house is quiet now, filled with the ghosts of a life that was a lie. Sometimes I stand in the dark and look out at the city lights, the same lights that once painted stripes on the floor that night. I won, but it doesn't feel like a victory. It just feels over. The only thing left is the silence she left behind. The end.